talk a little bit about dollars and cents to give you a sense of our the price to get into this business. Single territory, multi-territory is what we're looking for. We're not looking for master area developers. For folks, we really want owners that are going to be involved on a daily basis with their business. The franchise fee is $40,000. Additional territories are $32,000. We don't want folks, if someone's buying 3, 4 territories, we don't want them to try and open up all 4 at the same time. We want them to open up one, really get that going, open up the second one, get that one going. And in order to reserve those additional territories, we're charging $16,000 up front to reserve it. And then when you open that territory, you pay the balance of that franchise fee. The base territory size that I alluded to earlier, it's 250,000 households. Usually that's in the 700 to 800,000 population range, and it is a protected territory. They're based on zip codes. And really a 250,000 household territory is quite a bit of geography. And not only quite a bit of geography, it's there's a lot of space and ability to scale up. I mean, just getting to, say, a 1% market penetration, 1% would be 2,500 customers. And 2,500 customers, just to do sales visits to 2,500 customers, is going to take a pretty good-sized staff and several years before you even get to that point. So there's a lot of opportunity to scale. What we didn't want to do was force a franchise owner to buy multiple territories in order to have some scalability. We're not restricting them from being able to or from purchasing multiple territories, but we didn't want to require them to buy multiple territories like some of these blind industries and even some of the closet industries. Really, the territories are so small where the owner is out there plastering homes with flyers on doors in order to drum up business. So anyway, royalty fee, 4% is the royalty. National Advertising Fund is 2%. I'm going to talk briefly about what that entails. The total investment, and this would include the franchise fee, we're estimating it's going to be somewhere between $60,000 and $70,000, really above and beyond the franchise fee. We really, almost every dollar will be spent in advertising. The overhead in general is, again, very variable cost and directly related to sales. So, and I'll talk briefly about that here shortly. Again, if someone was to ask me what a day in the life of an owner would entail, I would say what an owner is going to focus on every day are 2 items. They're going to focus on their cost per lead, keeping the cost for every lead that they get as low as possible, and that would include the media buying, the leads that you pay for, as well as getting out there and networking with cabinet makers, with contractors, with realtors, folks of that nature. When they give you leads, those leads end up being really no cost unless you pay them a referral fee, and even then they end up typically being extremely high-valued leads, not only a high value with respect to their close rates being much higher because it's a referral to you, but also ones that you didn't have to spend significant dollars. So it brings the overall cost per lead down. So cost per lead is going to be the main function. Close rate is going to be the other. You're going to have designers, 1099 employees that work for you on the sales side of things, and overseeing them and motivating managing them and keeping them closing is going to be your other main function. But if you were to talk to any of our franchise owners and get really 4 variables, because all of the expenses that we have are relatively, they're variable costs, but they're fixed percentages. If you know what their cost per lead is, if you know what their close rates are, if you know what the average job size that they perform, and you know how much they're spending in marketing, you can put together a pretty close, very close pro forma to come down right to the bottom line as to how much they're bringing in revenue for themselves. I want to talk a little bit about our business support center. There's really 2 aspects of our business that allows this to become so scalable and allow the owner to focus on, again, those 2 items, the close rate and the cost per lead. In order for them to be able to focus on those 2 items, a lot of the back office and the customer service and the inside sales is taken over by us at our headquarters. We have a support center in Marietta. All of the phone calls when you do an advertising campaign or however the phone rings, instead of you hiring a staff to answer the phone and pay that person, that admin, to answer the phone 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, regardless as to whether or not you need them or not, we've taken that whole burden of an inside sales staff off of the hands of the owner. And really, an inside sales staff, especially for a small business, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in, the inside sales staff often is that silent killer, because in most cases, in fact, I would go so far as to say all cases, you either are overhiring or underhiring. Rarely do you need exactly 1.0 employees 8 hours a day, or 2.0 employees 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. In most cases, for us, our slower time is the summer, and in the summer, one of our owners may only need 0.3 of a person. During our busy times, during the spring and the fall and winter, in fact, right now is our busiest time is just starting right now. You, as an owner, may actually need to have 2.5 or 2.4 folks answering the phones, and it's really tough to know exactly how many people to answer the phones. And if you have not enough people, you have opportunity loss. If you have too many people on the phones, well, now you're spending money on employees when you don't necessarily need them. So our business support center really takes over that headache of knowing how many people to hire, and we really manage your inside staff for you. So all the phones calls come to our staff. We book all the appointments for you and your sales folks. We become that first line of defense when it comes to customer service. Instead of them calling you first, they'll come to us, and if you need to get involved, we'll take care of the problem as best we can. If the owner needs to get involved, the call will be transferred to you as an owner. We do reminder calls, so the day before any appointments are to be run, we'll actually pick the phone up and call and just remind the customer. Just wanted to remind you, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, that we've got Joan going to be there tomorrow at 10 o'clock. She's really looking forward to the appointment. Is there any questions that you might have before the appointment tomorrow? So we take a very active role in making sure that the customer service end of things are completely taken care of for the franchisee. Each franchisee is assigned an advocate, so if you're up in the Chicago area and a phone call comes in, we would have one person that takes all the phone calls from Chicago. Now, if that person is on the phone, anybody in our business center can help them. They're direct employees of ours, but the person who oversees Chicago is going to be very familiar with the roads, familiar with the weather that day, and just have a little bit more local, really local feel to it. As far as the caller calling in, they're not going to have any idea that the business center, they're talking to someone who is in Atlanta. They're going to assume they were talking to someone in Chicago or in California or wherever it is they're calling from. The phone system, again, automatically routes it to that advocate. We keep our call center staff 14 hours a day. We start at 9 a.m. Eastern, and we go until 11 o'clock Eastern because we've got franchisees on the West Coast. So there's quite a bit of phone coverage. Again, it's 6 days a week, and we're talking about doing that on Sunday as well now. Another item I want to touch on is our Wish portal. It took me a little while to figure this out, but genies grant wishes, and someone came up with the corny name of Wish Portal to call our back office, but really this back office becomes a phenomenal tool for a franchise owner. It really controls everything within your business. It allows all of your folks to, it really allows everybody to play nicely. It's web-based, so your sales staff, you as an owner, your installers, the manufacturing plant, the call center, everybody uses the same system. It's all web-based and it's all real-time. It becomes a contact management system. For you as an owner, it becomes really more of an ERP system. It manages everything. Once a lead comes in the door, to the time your sales folks are running appointments, to the time your installers are doing the measurements, to the manufacturing doing the building, to your installers doing the final installation. This will track everything such that nothing falls between the cracks, and anything that is a little bit delayed, you're going to know before it ever becomes a problem. but it's real-time booking of appointments. Franchisees, you as an owner, would have a dashboard really allowing you to have a very good understanding of exactly what's going on in your business. You'll be able to look at your sales. You'll be able to look at close rates. You'll be able to determine ROI of your marketing spends. You'll be able to look at your job status for all of your customers that have been sold. This Wish portal integrates seamlessly with QuickBooks, so when you do your payroll and what have you, you keep that on your QuickBooks, but this will interface very nicely with QuickBooks. And we're actually putting it in place right now where when your designers land an order, when they go back to their homes and they've collected a credit card number or even a check, they'll log into the Wish portal and they'll put the information right there, and all the monies will be deducted right from the customer's account and put right into your bank account. So that Wish portal becomes just a phenomenal tool for an owner to be able to manage the business. So the Wish portal and the call center really allow the owner to run the business versus being the business. And that becomes a valuable resource when you go to sell someday your exit strategy. At some point when you decide to get out, whether it's 2, 5, 10 years down the road, you're going to have something to be able to sell. Here's the business process. Here's my geography. Here are all these folks that are in place, and the business really runs on its own. And those are the two reasons why. Want to talk a little bit about media buying service. We are very aggressive in helping keep your cost per lead down as possible. We have partnered with a company called C Media. They represent and do media buying for some pretty large companies. Direct Buy, Home Depot, Vonage, Chase are all companies that they do purchasing for, and they're able to really throw some weight around on behalf of the franchise owner. So a franchisee will work very closely with C Media to come up with a strategy, and we'll help as well, but to come up with a strategy as to how best to penetrate the market. They have been able to tap into some of these remnant space programs, our target demographic being seniors, really the last demographic that still reads newspaper. And so the newspaper, anything that's print ad, our target demographic becomes a really good advertising venue for us. But they've been able, C Media has been successful in quite literally 10 to 20% of what you would pay if you were to call the Dallas Morning News or Chicago Tribune or whatever agency that you're looking to advertise in. C Media, they really can throw some weight around on a national basis, although doing it for you on a local level. We've got some other programs in place, pay-per-lead programs in the Yellow Pages. We also have some pay-per-lead programs in these card decks. Some of you, similar to like the Money Mailer and the Valpaks, there's several of these companies out there, and there are some of them that we've put programs in place where it's a pay-per-lead, so we don't pay anything up front, and if the phone never rings, you as an owner aren't going to pay a dime. You end up only paying when that phone picks up and rings, which becomes just a phenomenal program and makes it a low-risk investment into whether or not you do or don't advertise in that venue. But again, C Media, they will propose a plan, and you'll work very close with them to put a media buying in place into your market.